You mortgage maniacs out there. I'm Thomas, your business development consultant, and today I'm really excited because we're doing a first ever weekly market gainers and losers mortgage company edition. Who's going to what mortgage company, who's leaving what mortgage company, and all of the data says something, right? So we're going to look at this and we're going to analyze it. It will speak to us a little bit. This is the first time I'm doing this. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do something like this out there. If you have, go ahead and drop it in the comments, right? Give this video a like and subscribe if you get something from it. But let's get started. We're going to be using Redder as our tool to analyze some of these things. And again, I've never done this, but I've also never seen a tool that allows you to see on a weekly basis in this fashion who's going to what company and why. So with that said, let's get started. All right, guys. So what we're looking at here, this is a brand new newsletter from Redder. It is their mortgage market intelligence report. They're going to start doing this on a weekly basis. I was talking with Steven, one of the co-creators of Redder, and he was sharing with me a little bit about this coming out. And I think that this is a pretty cool report. I know there's going to be some changes to it. It's the first time they've done this. It's very interesting to see. I've never seen anybody put this out there. There are some good months where it's a good time to be recruiting. But historically, these are the times when people decide to switch companies, right? And anyway, this is for 2025, right? In 2025, January, there was a big spike. May, there was a big spike. And October, there was a pretty big spike. So this is a pretty cool new email report they're doing. It does have some market movers, like of everybody who moved. Here's some notable moves. And then market movers, I believe this is over like 14 months, who top 5 gainers and top 5 decliners, okay? So with that said, let's go ahead and get into Redder, okay? So if you've never used Redder before, you should, right? So what we're going to look at here is in the mortgage section of Redder, we're going to look at find companies, branches, and we're going to go to rankings and market share, companies including branches, and we're looking at this nationwide, okay? And you have some different options, time periods to look at this data over. I'm going to switch it to 12 months. Maybe there's a difference, but so one of the things I just want to highlight for you really quickly is you might look at this report and say, wow, Rocket Mortgage, they're number one. Okay, but they're not a retail mortgage lender. Okay, like people send them loans. They don't actually, well, they do actually do loans, but they're an online-based lender, right? As well. So this is the Scotsman Guide. If you've never seen this report before, you probably have, if you're one of those mortgage maniacs out there. And if you've never seen this is the data for, it says 2025, but this is released in 2025 for 2024. And what we can see on here is some of these top mortgage overall lenders, but wholesale versus retail versus correspondent. Okay, so really what we want to focus on is, cross country is going to be, and their 2024 is biggest, but they're also going to be 2025's largest retailer. Okay, so for the sake of this video, we're only going to focus on companies that are doing retail-based lending, right? Purchase refinances with, consumers, referral-based businesses, loan originators who are available to work with, realtors and consumers directly. So the first company on here we're going to look at is Cross Country, okay? And then we're going to have a peek over at Guaranteed Rate. So some of the companies we're not going to be looking at are those credit union bank companies, just because it's not really apples to apples. In future videos, I may actually get into some of these videos, but a lot of the times, if you're in a bank, right, like people are coming to you, your referred loan officers are referred deals. A lot of the times, those loan officers are not making the same compensation, right, as a retail loan officer. So Cross Country or Guaranteed Rate. One thing a lot of people don't know, Guaranteed Rate actually owns a lot of other mortgage companies. So although this is just the production for Guaranteed Rate, right? If I actually control F on here and I do Origin Point, that's one of the companies Guaranteed Rate owns. That's another $4 billion of production, okay? And there are a few others like that. So, but we're just going to focus on, for this video, some of the top IMB, retail-based companies that we can see on this list. So Guild Mortgage is going to be the next one. Then we have Fairway, Independent Mortgage, followed by CMG, right? You can see companies like Lennar Mortgage. That's owned by a builder, right? Like all they do is builder, loans. So loan officers there also aren't, that's not apples to apples. Okay, we're going to look at Loan Depot, Movement Mortgage, New American Funding, and let's see. And we are going to be looking at this weekly, but I am going to dive into this and give an example just so you can kind of see what you're looking at, because this data is pretty cool. So let's start with these 9, but I'm just going to start here with Cross Country, okay? So let's switch just to the past year. And so again, I've never seen this data presented this way. I think it's beautiful. I think that it's very helpful because when you look at this, what you can see is not only the company and how many producers are there, right? There's 3,200 licensed loan originators, right? But only 71% did at least one plus loan, right? All this information, very beautiful, very helpful. You can scroll down, you can see who the producers are and change it over what time period you're looking, okay? So over the past year, you can see the numbers here, how it breaks down. CrossCountry has added 1,208 loan originators and lost 986 for a net gain of plus 222. But they have also gained $4.46 billion of annualized production, right? LO value. So, 5.2% LO gain, 8.3% volume gain, okay? So that's pretty cool. But what we're here to look at is this weekly list. So we're going to go through some of these companies, and I'm going to show you some of the gains and losses of these companies, and we're going to analyze the data a little bit and have some fun here. So if we go ahead here and click on gain, okay, what this is going to show us is what are the license changes, right? Who recently joined this company in the past week. And I was told by Steven that the right time to do this is going to be on Tuesday, because if I do it on Tuesday, then all the changes have already happened in the system. But hey, in the future, if I need to ask for some grace because, maybe the data wasn't all the way caught up, hey, I'll ask for some grace, okay? But one of the things we should keep in mind is one of the indicators, right, like of how well a company is doing, and I've heard other people say this, right, is how many originators are joining that company or leaving that company that did over $10 million in annualized production. Not that the other people don't matter, but it's, if you're attracting a lot of high-level producers, then that's indicative of something, okay? So what we can see here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were 5 $10 million plus producers that joined CrossCountry in the last week, and we can see where they came from, okay? So one of the things that we'll go ahead and pick on Tyler here really quickly because they're super curious, right? It says new or previously inactive, and I don't know if that's true, right? We want to trust but verify, right? Everything here. Okay, Tyler, hey, you have your headshot here. That means he's an active Redder user, I believe, right? So hey, Tyler, good job, using the tool. Also, pro tip, right, is when we're looking at companies and people, is you can always see purchase versus refi. And also you can see when you're on an individual lender, you can see new build versus existing home production, okay? And so, that's helpful because it means what type of business is this person kind of doing. So I am going to scroll down here because I'm just super curious when Steven, so it says 11/29 to present, and he was at UMortgage previously. So there's a small gap right here in I just think that's a data error, to be frank. I think that it's 3-day gap. So I'm just going to chalk that up to a data error, right? Like trust but verify everything, guys. So, we've got 5 $10+ million producers who joined, the company. So there was a net loss in the past week of one LO, but there was a $42 million gain. Okay. So if we look at the losses here, who left and where'd they go, right? And why? So there's 1, 2, 3 pretty good producers, right? All left, 2 inactive. I'm just going to guess that their licenses are also just maybe hanging out in limbo. It hasn't started up at the new company yet, okay? And then there's, a number of other smaller people, right? So, and by the way, some smaller individuals doing really small production like this could be part-time, but they could also be LOAs, right? They could be loan officer assistants who just have an active license and a dealer, a couple went in their names. We don't know. So wish you all the best. They all just left CrossCountry and they're on to the next chapter of their careers. And congratulations to all of these individuals, right? They're new. They're new at CrossCountry, okay? So that's CrossCountry. Let's see what other kind of trouble we can get into, okay? So I'm just going to pop open a couple of these at a time. So we'll load these 3, right? Let's have a look at guaranteed rate, okay? And maybe, let's see, my browser is lagging a little bit. From now on, maybe we should just do one at a time, okay? So guaranteed rate. In the last week, drum roll please. Guaranteed rate, doing pretty well actually, okay? So they gained net gain of 10 loan officers and $130 million of new annualized production, okay? So one of the things you have to keep in mind is it's not like they did $130 million of new production. It's saying that if those people had have worked, 2025 at guaranteed rate, then guaranteed rate would have done an additional $30 million of production because of those people who joined and the people who lost, right? It's a net gain, but their production is still at their old company. You don't get to bring that production with you, right? But let's have a peek. Let's see who are the movers? Who are the movers coming into guaranteed rate and where are they coming from, okay? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 9, $10 million plus producers. Good job there. From a variety of companies. So no like singular company. It's not like a bunch of people coming like a team or something, or an area, right? So, okay. And let's look at the losses. Like, so for them to gain that much, I would imagine it's not too many people leaving. Okay, 2 pretty good producers. One went to American Pacific Mortgage, another went to New American Funding. Oh, 3, sorry. Another one went to Canopy Mortgage, okay? So, 3 good producers leaving, right? Okay. Well, let's move on here to Guild Mortgage, okay? Guild Mortgage for a net loss of 1, but $44.6 million of new production coming into Guild Mortgage, okay? So let's see where it's all kind of coming from, okay? Oh, well, that would do it, okay? So we have Jared here bringing $125 million of new business. Not just Jared, actually. They all came from a bunch of them. Okay, not all. A bunch of them came from the same company. I'm going to gander that guess that this is a team, right? Or, they're all from the same branch or something like that. Because for 4 people, right, 4, in 1 week to all come from the same company, their licenses probably all moved at the same time. I'm going to guess, okay? So, that's a pretty big week for Guild, and they picked up, a whole team or something like that from just one company. And then let's look at the losses here. So there's some pretty big losses, okay? So there's 2 big producers. One went inactive. Jeff's license is probably just hanging out in limbo. Another one went to Leader One, Haymaker. Is that a brokerage? I forget. What's the guy's name? Ryan. I forget the owner or the guy who founded it. Let's look him up. So I was looking at this not too long ago. Now it's going to bug me. Alex Rayner. That's what I was thinking. Ryan. No, it's Alex. Alex Rayner. I think he's the founder of them. So, and he produces. So, okay, right? Good job, Guild Mortgage, right? They're net positive, I guess, for the week on production. Fairway. Okay, so this is our first company that didn't have the best week last week. So net loss of 16 loan officers and $100 million basically of lost annualized production. All right, so let's see who they gained. They gained no $10 million plus producers, and the people who did leave they all went to American Mortgage Services. So a couple of them went together, and maybe they, in the previous weeks, maybe some other people went there and they're kind of following those people, who knows? And then we got, I guess I could always go back and look at that. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see me do any other type of video or analysis report through Redder or any other tool on, where people are going. I should probably also 1 week do like a rising stars version of this, right? The companies that aren't, the biggest, but that are also gaining a lot of production. So, wow, that's a lot of licenses to go inactive. I'm going to guess that, I don't know what to make of that. There's a big producer went to cross country, and then all these people went inactive. So did they fire a bunch of people? Maybe they fired a bunch of people. I don't know. Or they all moved together or something like that. Well, that's an interesting week for Fairway, one of the largest mortgage IMB lenders in the country, okay? So who's up next? We've got CMG. And let's see what CMG is up to this week. Pretty good week for CMG, but a net loss of 4 loan officers. But hey, it doesn't matter when you're bringing in. That's actually a good thing, right? Bring in less people, but more production. Pretty big producer coming in from Mechanics Bank, right? So a bank loan officer coming into CMG. So 1, 2, 3, $10 million plus loan originators coming in here. And then losses, got to be small, people. Wow, no $10 million plus originators moving on from CMG at all. So great week here for CMG. All right, let's move over to, we're gonna open loanDepot and Movement Mortgage at the same time here. Okay, let's see. All right, I think that's the worst so far. Not a very good week for loanDepot at all. Net loss of 10 loan officers and $173 million of annualized production. So who'd they bring in? They brought in one $10+ million originator from Envoy Mortgage, and losses. This is going to be brutal, right? Okay, so some big producers at the top, and then so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 producers leaving, and wow, so a bunch of them going to the exact same place. So a bunch of these people left together to be brokers, because West Capital Lending is actually a broker. You know what? I'm going to do West Capital Lending last, because that's all the other companies I've selected so far are IMB lenders, retail-based lenders, and West Capital Lending is actually a broker. So hey, we'll highlight them here at the end and leave that as kind of like a honorable mention or something like that, right? So that'll be fun. So not a good week for loanDepot at all. Okay, that's oops. No, we don't want to do that just yet. Don't go back and look at that frame. Okay, we'll get to it in a second. Okay, so that was loanDepot. Let's look at Movement Mortgage, New American Funding, and American Pacific Mortgage. After that, where'd it go? We want to move West Capital Lending to the end. No, don't look at it. Now it's ruined. Okay, Movement Mortgage. So not a very good week for Movement Mortgage. Okay. Net loss of 6 originators and net loss of $72 million annualized production. Who's coming in? Who's coming into Movement Mortgage? So they have one $10 million plus originator. So that's pretty light week for Movement Mortgage. Losses, 1, 2, 3, 4 originators, $10 million plus. Bunch of people going to New American Funding. Okay, and they're coming up in 2 companies. We're going to look at them. So probably another large team or branch group leaving Movement Mortgage, going to New American Funding. Interesting stuff there, but not a pretty week for Movement Mortgage. And guys, this is just 1 week. Okay, 1 week is not like indicative of how a company is doing at large. Let's look at this. Okay, this is going to actually be really bad because Movement Mortgage did have actually a really bad year. But if I were to show you some of these other companies, they can have bad weeks and it also not be this bad, right? But Movement Mortgage did lose a lot of people this year, so we don't need to pick on them though. Okay, we're not picking on anybody. This is just the data. We're just looking at the numbers. Okay, past week for Movement Mortgage. All right. Wait, didn't we just look at them or no? Thought we did just look at them. Why are we back here? Yes, we did this. Let's close this out. New American Funding. Okay, so we saw a bunch of people, I think, from loanDepot coming to New American Funding. Past week, 14 loan officers, net loss. But hey, when you lose 14 loan officers and you gain $55.2 million of annualized production, that's fantastic. So who's coming in? Well, a lot of those people from Movement Mortgage, 1, 2, 3, 4 $10 million plus originators, right? But it all adds up, okay? So that's why at the end of the day, right, the score, right, it all adds up. So that's a pretty good gain and loss. I'm going to imagine there's not so many people leaving New American Funding this past week. Big ones. There's one $15 million originator, so $10 million plus originator who left New American Funding. So pretty great week for New American Funding. All right. And we got American Pacific Mortgage, right? So this is the last IMB right before we move over here to West Capital Lending. So an amazing week. Wow. For American Pacific Mortgage. $239 million net gain of annualized production, negative 13 loan officers. Let's see who's coming in and who is leaving. Well, that will help you. When you've got a $207 million originator from DHI Mortgage. They're part of D.R. Horton, though, if I'm not mistaken. And this is why earlier I did mention something that's kind of important here. Wait, I don't want that. I want the person. My bad. We're going to come in here and we're going to look at in a different window, Nicole. Okay, so in the last 12 months. So yes. And if these are her builder accounts and they're coming with her to American Pacific Mortgage, then, but I mean, let me just look at this. Because now we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into the rabbit hole. We're gonna analyze. We're gonna Google. It's not American Pacific Mortgage. We want to Google D.R. Horton, her previous company, DHI, because I got to see this now. Now I got to believe DHI Mortgage. Okay, we're just going to Google it really quickly here. Yes, DHI Mortgage is affiliated lender of D.R. Horton, the nation's largest home builder. Okay, so if all this business that Nicole's doing, hey, Nicole, I hope it all works out great for you. I'm not hoping it doesn't, right? But if all, oh no, that's Westcap. If a lot of this business that Nicole's bringing is builder business and it doesn't all come with her, then the numbers actually aren't going to be, looking forward as friendly to American Pacific Mortgage because of this very large $200 million originator that just joined, right? And they also got a bunch of people from Guaranteed Rate. So an amazing week if it works out this way for American Pacific Mortgage. Fantastic. All right, so I ruined it because I should have just not opened it, and now, well, now we get to see. Okay, past week, West Capital Lending, which is one of the fastest growing brokers in the country. It's still not that as large as all the other companies we just looked at, right? They're a $6 billion mortgage company. Sure, let's just look at this really quickly. If we look at the last year, in the last year, this is where they've shined. Okay, so in the last year, they added $4.5 billion, okay, for 546 originators. So yes, they're blowing up, okay? In the last week, they gained 156 million. That's impressive and crazy. So who is coming in here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 $10 million plus originators, okay, coming from Loan Depot, most of them. A lot of the production is coming from there this past week. And losses, let's look. 1, 2, so some big producers moving. I know this guy, Amit. Amit started his own company, or maybe you're still affiliated with them somehow, right? But Mama Capital Lending, go Mamas, right? Amit, I'll call you Amit. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 $10 million plus originators leaving. So, but net gain of 16 originators and net gain of $156 million of production. Okay, that's pretty freaking cool for a broker. Okay, so if you found this video helpful, go ahead, give it like, subscribe, leave a comment, any other ways that you'd like me to look at this data, companies you want me to look at. If you found this helpful, I'm going to be doing this on a weekly basis. I'm going to try and do it every Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. Data's coming out Tuesday. So I want to bring you guys more information so that way in the game of business development and growth, if there's more ways that we can help each other, like let's get to the truth, okay? Like we don't need, if you're abundance minded, okay, there is no one size fits all. Sometimes we just need, from a change of scenery to tools and technology or products or other things that other companies have, right? So again, my name's Thomas Meister. I have my own independent business development firm. So if you have questions about anything mortgage company related, you can reach out to me and I'd be happy to help you and get you that information. But thanks for watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end, I appreciate you. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.